Hey guys, Dr. Prometheus here. You might be asking, why do we have this in front of a Warno video? Well, I did a thing. I saw a video of Fly Daily asking ChatGPT to tell him what he should play in War Thunder. It gave me an idea. Okay, I had AI want to build me a deck in Warno. Issue is Warno is too new, so it's outside the information cutoff, but it can make a Wargame Red Dragon. So what I did was kind of merge the two because it did have knowledge of one game and not the other. So what I did was kind of go through and I asked ChatGPT. That one didn't work, but Google Bard could do it. So we used Google Bard for this one. I had to ask it each, kind of go through and make it decide on what it wants to do. And well, here's the example of what it gives us, and this is what we're going to play with in this public match. So I literally asked it 50 million questions and just told it to make a decision on each one. So essentially we're going to go over the deck right quick before we hop in the game, so we kind of tell you. And the queries are just, yeah, it's long. So this is what I did. So our logistics, we got a field supply point, a UH-60 Hemet, and then an M35 supply. It seems to think that, yeah, these can get in tight spaces, and these are just better in supply for an armored. It did say the third armored was the best division in the game, actually, is what it decided, because of the Abrams. Yeah, we're just going with what AI says. So this is what our template is. Infantry, it has a major hard-on for Bradleys and the M113A3. So it thought the M113A3s had toes on them because the information cut up is not the greatest. So we just went with this with the heavy machine gun. It does have a major push on toes. So we put 2 more toes in here because it literally, if you haven't noticed, it really loves toes. I mean, toe missiles, it just loves them. Arty, this one was a little bit easier. I had to ask it to decide between the cluster and MLRS. It kind of picked these two out pretty easy because there's not many variations even in war games. So that was pretty easy. It's going to go with an explosive MLRS and the M109A2 tanks. This one was also relatively easy, and again, it literally loves toes, so it told me I need to put a toe 2 and an ITO out here, so I put them both out here. It also thinks we're going to be doing city fighting, so we wanted to add an M728 for anti-infantry. Not gonna argue, it's fine. So it did ask for multiple Abrams, so I kind of decided with this, we'll put like 6 Abrams like this, but it literally wanted Abrams, and I said, hey, I kind of also did this one on my own because it just wanted to add more Abrams, and I was like, we need command vehicles. That this one, it actually, I asked it, and it definitely wanted to have an infantry leader here and a Bradley, so we did that. And you might suggest it really likes toes, so in this we have 2 Bradleys. It did have some M11-3s in here. We only it wanted the toe, but we don't have the toe version in this, so we went with the ACAB version, and it kind of agreed that it will do it. I had my choice between scouts, or actually it wanted this, so I had no choice between sniper or scouts. It really wants this, so we put it in. I also asked, should it have some air? It said yes, and it gave me the Hellfire. I gave it the option between the minigun, the Hydra, and the Hellfires, and they went with the Hellfires. In AAA, it was pretty easy. There's not a lot of AAA in the game. It wanted to use iHawks. It didn't recognize that iHawks aren't in this portion, but it knows that iHawks are in the game. So we said, hey, there's only replace the iHawks with the Chaparrals and recalculate, and it recalculated this with 1 Chaparral and a PVAD. It only sees this as a M168 VAD, which I think is it's the same thing. So do it with that. Hilo was a bit of an issue because there are so many types, so I had to ask it. Ultimately, I gave it the choice with the Cobra, the Tow Cobra, and I gave it all this and had to specify like what each one was equipped with. I had to do it one by one. So I said, hey, would you rather do Cobras or Apaches? List them all out and said, hey, pick 4. It actually spread out pretty well. So it went with the Apache that has both the Hellfire and the Hydra, so pretty balanced attack. And then it said, hey, you need to take out armor because it wants to go balanced. And then with this one, they said, hey, this is a versatile one that can be used against multiple different types of units, including infantry. It was really specified against, this is like your soft targets, so it really wanted that. And the weird one is, I'm not going to argue with it because I get the logic is standoff ATGMs. I mean, bro, it loves ATGMs that they push toes and literally the Hellfires. So we went with it. On air, it wanted to put in A10s. I asked it about the high explosive in the AT. Also kind of described how it kind of worked to the AI itself on saying that HE, this is all it's equipped with. That and realistically, like with the A10, you could probably fit more munitions in this bad boy on these hard points in the middle here. But we said, hey, this A10 only has Mavericks out here, and realistically, these, I'm not sure if they would actually have anti-missiles on them. Never really looked at the underbelly of an A10 too close to see if they have aim 9s, but it wanted A10s and literally it threw it up there. So then I asked it, hey, we have 2 air-to-air options, the F4 and the F15. It obviously went with the F15 because, well, it's a better generation fighter. With the seed, I put this one in here because I wanted to actually have a seed aircraft in it. And it's the only seed, so I couldn't really ask it, hey, what's the best anti-radiation missile, because there's only this seed. So that was the easy question, so I put that in there. Then I asked it, hey, what is better for a bombing run, an F4 or an F111? It didn't really decide for me. Eventually I had to just like force it to like pick one or the other. And the reason why I picked one was, well, the F111 just can carry more ordnance, is the reasoning between that. I asked it HE, cluster, or napalm. Again, it went with the idea that napalm and soft targets. So, I mean, it kind of makes sense. It took in the fact that your AT here is for hard targets and these are for soft targets. So we're going to play it like that. Be able to do 50. At the end of the day, it tried to go off of Wargame, which was 100 max points, so I had to mix and match a couple things when I had to query it. But overall, to start this, we'll have a cut over to the game. It'll be a post commentary type deal, maybe some hilarity. But, well, I will say at this point, give you a pause to write a comment down below and tell me how you think Google's Bard actually did. I think it did pretty okay, pretty even. But with Warno, there's not a lot of options for the AI to kind of screw up. So there's that. So yeah, let's make a cut and we'll kind of see how this battle group goes. Okay, so you kind of know how this is going. It is our AI built deck. And so what we're going with, we're the third. We have another one, another third with us. It's going to be in the middle. Occidental. This is a public game, by the way, so everyone is puppies from there. And we're going to have the 8th ends up in Foxtrot. Ace is going to be, I think, on the Foxtrot side. Troy K with the 79th, or 79th, the 39th, I'm sorry, will be kind of in the middle. And then the 235ths, so I'm thinking of 35ths, one's going to be in Foxtrot, one's going to be in Bravo. And that's actually quite funny. So not very particularly good at city fighting. We'll speed it up until we start going. So city fighting yet, and they kind of just revamped it in Warno. So there is that. My thought was we take Hotel and Bravo. That's 3 points as opposed to the 2 here. Our guy here in the middle is going to be taking India and then through Gulf. So he's going to concentrate more on Gulf. And then straight city fighting for the 8th out here. How they line up, and they could have likely rolled my flank and completely cut me off. But 2 go to Charlie and Delta. So that was one that was kind of weird with that. And I have one. There was a little lag in the game in general. Whoops. In general. But yeah, it's kind of all right. We're going to come through with 2 OH-58 Kivas. These are the ones with the Hellfires. So we're going to come in with 2, pretty much flanking the outside. We'll have 2 Cobras flanking the outside. We call in 2 F-111Es, so the napalm ones. We're coming in with a tow and an ITV, which we're going to put and kind of extend our flank here. Bradley with our fire team leader, going to capture these 2 points. We have good enough supply. We're going to have a supply here, and then one in the middle and one on the right side. We're going with 2 PVADs here instead of chaparrals to start with. So a PVAD on each side. We're going to get an Abrams here that's going to pretty much just sit in the middle road here to cut this middle. Kind of a risky play here, but it forces them to either play with this or play through this field, which will just take them longer to get some guys up. And then this Bradley with the law is going to see if we can get into these up here to kind of get and close this road up. So that is the overall game plan. Still looking for this. As you see here, they push heavy in the middle in the city. So we're not pushed quickly on the left side, which allows us to kind of get associated here. Before I close it down and just go to my neutral view, I thought that we might see a bit of a push through this field, and ironically enough, we don't. I don't know why. He played defensive here to just try to play a 3v2 and force me to come around and just play a 1v1 here, which I was completely fine playing a 1v1 right here against the 39th, and us being, even though it's a AI built deck, going with the 3rd, I mean, it's all right. So let's go to just ours. We spot the first enemy. It's a BMP coming down the right side of the road. We're going with our scouts with the ACAV, which I actually do like. This might be something I add to my normal deck, is having the ACAV with scouts as a scouting element, because the ACAV actually has done pretty good work against BMP 1s and BMP 2s. And plus having 2 recon elements where you can send the scouts out but still have some rear recon is actually pretty nice. So our Cobra's flanking left and right. We're pretty much having this one kind of guard this opening if we see anything come across. This ITV can do something. Our PVADs pretty much flanking, and yeah, we're not seeing anything at this point, which is ironic. So he is finally coming up. He has a longer bit to roll through, and you can definitely see that this was a token force, and then this was their main push. But for whatever reason, you kind of want to contest Gulf and Charlie. You don't want to play in this town for the most part. So we're able as a team to take Gulf and Bravo without any real engagement. We finally get our first look here. It's going to be the Cobras firing on a BMP-1, taking them down, and then they get into this building here with the Motor Strelky. One of our ACAVs goes down, but the Cobra forces that BMP back and the motor strelky out. And we kill that BMP on the left side. This motor striking Metis is being engaged by the scouts. We're going to move this. This one is equipped with the 12.7 and the motor striking Metis. He's not really kind of metting, like microing. He could have just taken this out, probably easy one shot with the Metis and then dealt with the scouts. And I could have did something better. I didn't want to push our Cobras up because I figured there would be anti-air back here. And I'm kind of surprised I'm not getting a push here. But that is because we're starting to see more of a push in this area and he's kind of concentrating this. So kind of weird that we're not getting hit here. The MI2s, he came out with a lot of MI2s for recon, and our PVADs and later the Chaparrals just deal work with it. These MI24s are kind of stuck here because we have a good front of anti-air with these PVADs. And so I felt like we weren't really getting pushed here, and I'm not the greatest push player, but I kind of realized that, hey, we can do some of that. So looking at this, it just takes him a while to get staged up. So he's going to end up staging a lot of these just outside where I can see. Starting to see some BM27s as well come in. I did forget my supply depot back here. So we end up having to use our allies, which hopefully he's not too angry with that. And then this is just a consolidation. This reminds me a lot like how I play. And I think at this point, recognizing that there was all this space, he should have pushed out and kind of looked out and saw, or at least pushed to India. I think if we had, say, like Bartok or Oddball or any of these guys that are big on pushing, they would have been down here, leaving this open. So we kind of got lucky with this, that we weren't getting double teamed through here. Kind of a weird thing, but I don't know. We kind of forced them to kind of think about their flank. Now there's not a lot opposing us here, and we finally get some scouts up into this space to kind of think about what we're handling. We're going to get this tow up in here, and we're going to start putting some early warning in this area. Now, pretty good tows, things like this, to see any push coming out of the city, which was nice. And we start seeing a good push here. So this is their flank here, and I'm just out here messing around with their flank. So kind of a weird battle at this point. We're going to use our napalms to get back here and napalm some units. So a lot of units in that area. I don't think we did a lot of damage. It is napalm. This one hits, and we don't do a lot of damage. We don't do any damage. Oh, there it goes completely. We do some damage. Nothing crazy. I don't really like napalm that much. If I had to do it, I would definitely come in with HE 111s, but the CAI deck. Those BM21s hitting where the tanks are. We're gonna end up pulling these tanks back. One, I believe, will get destroyed from a AT missile, ATGM somewhere in the back, which kind of shows me that, hey, we need to push up more. Pretty good artillery, but the thing is, they start focusing all their artillery to deal with this. Now, this hit back here is someone not moving their BM21. So Ace was the one that was having some lag issues. He actually gets some damage there. But what we're seeing back here is like D20s, seeing a T80 come up. An artillery push which actually is a point that if we're being static, we should have been absolutely destroyed in this. But as you can see with this, we do a pretty good job of dealing some good pressure to the recon units. There's a lot of units that are just sitting here as well. So I see this, what's this, the Bearsuda? Probably mispronouncing that. And so I see that and I think to myself, hey, we can bring in some wild weasels and come in here. So we pull in them, it's looking for targets. First shot is a miss, second shot's a hit, so there's one down. We bring in the second wild weasel at one point, so the next seed. We send this one out, although he has 3, we're just, actually he's gonna get shot down over the iglas. Looking for that next one here. I hear it. I don't know where it is, but we're gonna hit it. It'll be a good one. We try to sneak this. Here it is. The other wild weasel. So we try to sneak this on the outside, and I should have, now that I'm thinking about it, I should have waited until this wild weasel came through so I can get this Apache and we can move it over here and deal with this. We do hit some more of their anti-air. It's just the sole fact that a little bit too fast of a push to do this. So missed the first 2 shots. We see that Osa back there as well. We can hit those. There's Ace leaves the game because he's lagging out at this point. So there is the kill. There's the 2 Osas, and we kill another one there. That was a good seed with the F4. The Mi-24s are going to come at us. They're actually going to stop back here. This wild weasel is going to take one more pass until we tell it to get out of here. So he does get a tank in here. The MiG-23 AA comes in. I think we should have had more in terms of AA. I mean, the wild weasel dealing with this should not have been something I should have done. It's going to go right over more AA and go down. So I should have not done that. It should have been, it didn't have any munitions. Should have just dealt with stuff over here and gotten out. But that's bad micro on my part. So here's our Apache. What we ultimately take down is 2 Cubs. So an Apache for 2 Cubs. To put that in mind, I don't think we have another Apache out at this point. Does anyone have Cubs? I'm not sure how much Cubs actually cost, to be honest. I'm looking around. I don't see any more. And Osa is 135. Yeah, I'm not really seeing another one. Let's see if he brings in another one. I think Cubs are relatively up there in about 135. They have to be up there a good bit. So we start taking some artillery. It does kill one of our UH-60s, which kind of sucks. It's full supply. Not big on points though, but the fact that that was 1,000 supply. We save our chaparral though. It gets some hits. So yeah, the Cub is probably, actually it's probably up there in points. So an Apache for a Cub, that is something that I'll take. An Apache is about 235 or so, I believe. So we'll take that. We start staging for not only a stall here if they come across, but getting ready to kind of hold this area. MiG-23 comes in. They're trying to take out our Cobras, and these MiG-23s, this is the AI at this point. We come in with the F-15. It's going to take a shot at the MiG-23. Actually, it won't. It doesn't even try because it's trying to go after the Mi-24. MiG-23 circling back around. It's going to miss, and that Eagle is going to do some work there. We're going to put it down on one of the helos. It's not there. So the OSA is turned off at this point. We get away with a pass that we probably should have never gotten away with. Eagle's going to go over the city, which a lot of AA is in, and in Charlie. He's going to get through because most of it is actually rounds. So he's getting ready for a push here. You have a bunch of T-80s coming in. You have this T-80 BBK back here. So some good stuff. Weird that he doesn't actually try to push. We try to get this tow Cobra in the middle. Now this one was interesting because this Afghansky I see sees us, and we're trying to go low. Actually it's the Igla that sees us first, and then the Osa fires and misses. I don't know ultimately what hits us. It's the Osa that hits us and routes us. Now if we don't get routed here, this tow Cobra flies all the way up here to deal with all of this. Just would have been great to be able to take down the D20. We knew where this was firing from. We're going up to the BMs and everything like that. Ultimately it gets routed to go back to the BTR ZD and actually die. So it's a good try. It's a good try. It happens. So we don't see anything at this point. We are going to get ready for a push. So we're going to pull in another tow to take that area. We're going to start bringing in Abrams. We're going to start bringing in some more ITVs. The AI started pushing randomly in the middle all over the place. We see their Spetsnaz commander. We are going to come over here and bomb it. At this point though, with an AI, the other team is really at a disadvantage, but we have an interesting bit of push between two guys that are actually players. So now we're going to start bringing in some supply. Yeah, this supply is going to come in, and we're napalming with this. We just brought him in, and then we tried to napalm on the BMP2. I did not notice I had him here. I thought he was attacking the BMP. That was bad. That was just bad. He's gonna get shot down out of just me being bad. So we're bringing up some more supply, gonna refuel, re-equip, get all of these tanks, all these chaparrals up. So we're doing some good stuff at this point. What we're seeing in the middle, because we're down to ticking up by 1 now, is a lot of consolidation in the middle, which there's no push. There should have been a push from him out of these cities. Ultimately, I don't know why he doesn't pull out of that. MLRS gonna hit their PM27 and likely kill it back here. Not mistaken. There it is. Just not a lot of micro by the other team. We kind of get caught a couple times, but we had a pretty good push, even though I forgot our my ammo. I would have brought in artillery if I had an ammo depot, which would have likely spelled the end of this, because I saw all of this in here. I could see at this point the BMPs and Desaniki in here, and I was seeing these grads by the AI fire in the middle of it, and I'm thinking like, hey, if we hit the middle of this area, this is just a death kill if I was working a unit. I actually can see these two MTLBs, but I don't know what's actually back here at this point. I end up being able to see them because I moved the scouts up, and I can only see those. So we're sitting back waiting. I mark that beacon there because there's a T-62 command coming in. It actually hits in, and I see the A-10, and I'm like, that A-10 is definitely going to deal with it. And now we have a good point to where their push has to come through here or through here. Now I feel like we are in a pretty good spot where we have this entire field covered. And maybe he thought we had the field covered so much that he couldn't push. But we grind him down through this area, which is kind of weird. So he brings out this MI2 on the left side. He's thinking he's going to make a push here. Looking forward, it's just a couple of infantry units. So we have some good shots here. They move in the mech. Then we started having a bunch of aircraft come in from our ally, hitting his two Mi-24s and keeping them down. But really the sole fact is he comes in with that Su-27. We respond with our F-15 Eagles. And from here, he goes down quickly. And now we say, hey, I didn't see any AA back here a whole lot. We see this Phantom come back. It's going to take shots at the helo. We're not seeing a whole lot. That is an Igloo, it looked like. And so we're going to take some shots on the helos. Comes in, one gets damaged, the other one goes down with a missile, and we pull both F-15s out of this. This one just going over this area is not a smart play. The AI starts just suiciding itself against our ally in the middle. And here's the first bit of artillery going in the middle from our ally. So it's going around the BMP there, or the BMD I should say. So good shots. Don't know if it actually goes down. We start routing the infantry and pushing it back. BMP coming up, two of them here. We start moving these Bradleys and the Abrams to get ready for a push up into this next line. These BTRs coming up. We're going to push these tanks and the scouts up. This tank will see the BTR. This one here, LeBlanc will. We'll take that BTR down that is still, I think, full of people. Scouts start taking shots. One BMP goes down. That is from the Kiowa there. Both of them go down. The second one goes down to that toe. PVAD, we saw this Mi-2 trying to make a run over here. PVAD will take that down. And here is the T-80 push. So I see this. I'm like, hey, we have this push here. The mech rifles are getting concentrated. These mech rifles, though, with their dragons are just within range. So they put everything going. And we have a great back and forth going. This law is here as well. I'm thinking to myself, hey, let's move these Bradleys out here. This fire team law is going to come up and come up around here. This fire team law is going to come up here. Shot by the Abrams, hits one of the T-80s in the side. And now I see this T-80 here. And I'm going to come in with our slow flyer here. This A-10 coming from the middle of the map. It's going to take so much time, but we're all here for it. We're calling a couple Bradleys. We have this Apache. So that Apache is 275, and we took out the equivalent, probably about 300 when we took on those two books. So move here. Abrams takes out another one of those infantry units as this law is going to come up and see what's up in this area. Coming in here, ATGM trying to get set. And here comes the Thunderbolt. The A-10 misses one with the AA. Giving it a good hit, and it's going to take a left turn. One miss. I don't know what that ultimately is. That is an OSA. So it's going to have one more shot, and it will take down our A-10. So that's unfortunate, because if we come in with a seed aircraft, if we had the seed aircraft at this point, I think they both went down. If we'd actually had them to where they were actually microed pretty well, we could have brought in that seed aircraft, dealt with that OSA, had that A-10 deal with that, and still had an F-15 if they didn't fly over this and they were just reloading. Had that F-15 been able to fly a combat air patrol back here, deal with that Su-27, I think it was, baiting to come in, and we would have been set. Instead, we see it from here. We're going to bring in all of our aircraft, our remaining aircraft at this point. We're gonna bring in a wild weasel and a couple. We know there's at least this one back here because we can see it at this point. We are on my view. Whoops. We are on my view. We can see it. We also see the T-80. I did not see that ATGM kind of stick in there because I was looking over here. So Bradley takes down the BMP-2 with its tow. Here's the seed aircraft now. First one's coming through. We're gonna CR round to the OSA, and it's gonna miss the first one. Second one hits. We hit it with another one just for good measure. The seed is walking around, looking. This OSA's back here, and another one back here. So it doesn't fire at first, and this seed doesn't as well. So this one actually ends up going back. We bring in this one and we say, hey, we're gonna take a shot here. First shot hits a wide. Second OSA shot goes down. Second OSA is going to take a shot just out of range, but this will take it over the city itself. Remember, there's a lot of air in the city. Starting to take AAA fire, and it goes down. Some more missiles coming in here. Another command setting in. I'm not sure what this command is. I've never actually saw it come in. It is at RKHM, so I didn't actually know what was here or how we killed it eventually. Now here's our push. So the Abrams gonna take an ATGM hit. It's not a lot. We're gonna move it back anyway. As Bradley's gonna come out here, I want to see what's on this side. I lost vision of it. I can only see the MTLB. I see another MTLB. I see a T-80 here. I'm looking. I'm saying this is it. All sitting in front of my way. Okay, here's an Abrams. We're gonna move this scout up. This Bradley is gonna send an ATGM to the T-80. I thought I moved this back enough to where it's out of vision. I did not. Artillery coming in with our ally. I accidentally moved these scouts. We start moving them in. Artillery coming in from them. We scatter from here with the mech rifles and the Bradley. Good shot with this Abrams in this space. And he is just going for the command. I just realized that that's what he's going for with the artillery strike. So our Bradley finally goes down the CFV. We're going to bring in another one. We're going to push our scouts in this area. Start seeing the ATGM. This Bradley goes down. Can't pop its smoke. And again, here's the Mi-24s. They have the Kokons. They have rockets. I mean, they're out taking pop shots to the Abrams, and it's not going to do... It only does 2 damage. We bring up our Cobras in range. There goes the Metis. T-80 here, looking around. This is just the rocket. We're going to bring up our Apache with the 16 Hellfires. Now here's the SU-25s coming in. PVIDs and Chaparrals are going to deal with this. Quick work. Cool. One of the Chaparrals goes down. This PVID goes... And we're saying, hey, we don't want this up. We don't want it to evacuate. Here comes the F-15 Eagle. Let's watch this F-15 Eagle go in. He's going. I don't even see the aircraft of what he fired on. But it's not dead. That's why it disappeared. Okay, SU-27 coming in. We got a nice little dogfight here. Shots going in. Has its rear aspect, and the F-15 wins the day. Okay. So at this point, yes, the AI over here wasn't going to do anything against us. And our ally in the middle starts pushing this middle portion. These are AI units as well, trying to hold this. I just felt there was a lot of artillery from our opponents, and you have to think, what are we looking at in terms of how many points they spent on this? So like, let's see, AI Back here. Okay, Pro AK gets D20. That's 120. Another 120. This one is 250. There was a couple of them they lost back here. The Grad is 145. There's a lot of points in artillery out here. It's a lot of points in artillery. Whoops. Here comes another SU-25. Takes a shot at the Abrams. It's going to take another shot. It's going to miss. This SU-25 is going to absolutely just yoinked. From PVADs and the one... Don't we have a chaparral in here? Or am I blind? I'm in charge here. Yeah, it's right here. So we do have one chaparral in here. We start pushing the scouts up. And again, hey, I see this T-64 in here. A market. Once we see our ally pushing up with our Abrams, we're also on the flank going to push up with all of our armor. So we're going to lead the way with 2 Bradleys and a scouting roll. We're going to push up an ACAV. We're going to get our command in here. He gets his command in here at the same time. And then here's our Abrams going to start hitting. This ACAV is going to come up. This recoilless rifle is amazing. We're pushing the scouts up here to kind of see. It's over here. We're going to pull the ACAV back while it's taking shots at the Igla. And then what we're going to do is we're going to push this ACAV back here to start getting side shots at anything that were to retreat from this side through. And then we're going to get this tow up here, and eventually we're going to move the ITV, and we're going to take command of this area as well. T-64 out here taking shots at the Abrams. Scouts moving up. This ACAV we're going to push up because I want to get this recon here, this BRM. It starts instead moving and shooting at all of this down here, which is a shame because it goes down. We're going to move this Abrams back. We're going to get a supply, and we're going to kind of regroup and get this Abrams sorted. It's at 4 health. Not too bad. This scout, I actually micro this back too slow, so the BMD2 takes it out. Here comes the ITV. We're going to put it in this space, move the scouts up here to kind of secure our flanks so we don't get north and swept down. Here's some artillery coming in from the MLRS. That's the cluster, the MLRS cluster coming in. This Abrams is slowly taking any infantry that were to push his CP. So we have a good shot range of anything that comes through here, which is actually nice. New aircraft coming in. It's a MiG-27 not coming towards us, so we're not really worried about it. All these Bradleys coming in with fire team Dragons. Here's our UH-60 coming in. And now we're setting up for another push over here. We have some mech rifles coming through. I didn't want them to come up here and turn. I actually wanted them to come through this way and unload here and then unload up here. Taking them down the main road will actually get them hit by a cannon here. And that's just bad me not paying attention because I'm looking over here. We lose both of them. Fortunately, it does not actually hurt us in the long run. So fire team law is going to come up here. This Bradley trying to get a view on it, and I'm like, hey, this Cobra has just enough room to see it. So it takes it out. Coming in with a seed. Looking back here. That's going to be a good hit there on an OSA. So here's our push. Pulling up Bradleys. Pulling up this Abrams. This Cobra is there on standby. We're going to pull the mech rifles up here. The ACAV. And essentially we're going to push up and take the top port of this zone. I'm thinking to myself, there's not much here. I'm not seeing a lot of resistance. when I moved up in general in this. And that's because he is getting ready to do another tank push. And when I take this, it doesn't matter at this point. I think even with this T80 push and we push everything up here, we'd be able to see it. We put the scouts up in this tree line. The scout becomes over here. Like, we get a good view of everything in here. So the only way this tank is going to go is through here. That's actually seen. If it takes this open field, we're eventually going to have these ITVs out here just looking in the open field with the scout up here. Like, I felt pretty confident what we're doing. We're going to bring up this Abrams from getting supplied now. We move it up. We see the T-64 kind of disappears, but this T-64, well, it thinks it's safe. The AI does. Wait for it to crest this hill. Shot comes in. Going with the ACAV here. On the side and ATGMs. And there it is. ATGMs from the Bradley hit it. We push the scouts up in this space to see if there's anything up here so we don't get flanked. And we see that Thessaloniki does take down their ITV, which is unfortunate. We're still holding. This M1A1HA is going to come up, and this one's going to come up here. And we're going to fortify a little bit more in this area. BMP1 is going to be hit in the side from the Bradley. And now it's like, what are they really going to do here? So these T-80s come up. It's 4 minutes to victory at this point. Or 4 minutes. 4 ticking, so 17 minutes to victory. We're going to keep this honest. I'm not sure what he ultimately does because I never see these tanks in this game. So we're just hitting them on the side while they're engaging our allies. We're just set up here, taking shots. So some ATGMs here. I guess they just stay there the entire game. I don't know why. Maybe that's him just holding this spot. I see the UASs. But I'm over here microing this, so I'm not even looking at this because I don't see any attacks. I'm looking at the map. So this HA is going to move up. This Abrams is going to be taking shots. Nice target-rich environment. T-64 here. Shot on the Thessaloniki. ATGM coming from the city trying to hit that Abrams. I think he pushed it up in a way that he was kind of safe. Our command over here is fine. AI just suiciding some MI8s. Nothing abnormal. So I say from here, hey, we need some air support. This is going to be our cover. So what I do is this Q is going to come on the outside here. This Apache is going to stay in the middle, so anything that comes through this main road is going to get railed by this Apache. And then that's the only two we're going to have over here. On the flip side, both the Cobras are going to come over here. We're going to bring in Bradley with some fireteam laws. We're going to bring in our tow Cobra here. More tanks and PVAD and Chaparral to kind of hold this. We're also going to bring in an ACAV and another Bradley. So ACAV with Scout's going to come over here. The Bradley's going to come in this direction. I think this is not ours. This is our allies. So this Abrams taking shots here. I thought we were pretty good. I mean, it's a T-64 going up against it, and it's not going to do much. It's only doing 1 damage on this Abrams. So realistically, what we do is smoke up, move it back, move up this M1HA, and then we're going to resupply this Abrams. No push. I think this is his defense. This is defensive posture, which is literally everyone together. And I was fine not pushing that because actively, if we take this point, and the AI is at least trying to hold this, we take this point and it's pretty much set to where they're in this bubble that this force is entirely cut off. So we're holding this Abrams, while getting repaired, has some vision over this area. This Abrams taking a shot at this T-64. This T-64 though is getting hit with a toe in the side. Cobra coming in, gonna hit the infantry. This toe comes in on the T-64 and it hits it. It's gonna be dead at this point. Yep. Cobra's gonna end up eliminating it. We're gonna move back the HA just in case. Now we're seeing those T-80s, but they're still not moving. Here we are at +8. We took the other one in the north. What is that? Charlie? It's Echo. We take Echo from the enemy AI portion. Still moving around, looking. This M1HA is going to move up now. Start taking shots at this Thessaloniki. But we're going to move up a supply to start repairing. Still not seeing anything. The ATGMs are stagnant. Getting more supply in there. Getting another ACAV. We're going to move this Hemet over on the left side because we moved two of the supply trucks over on this side. And there is the second surrender for one of the guys in the middle. And that is just not a big one. So the moral of the story with this, let's kind of hold this for a second. Moral of the story is, well, we had this side. It does Commissar, instead of just playing the town, if he would have held this, saw no resistance, and pushed through, or pushed through India, there's a hole here and we have to play defense back here, and he can completely cut off this, and we're playing defense through hotel and back through our spawn up here with the massive salient. Because he doesn't push this, they can't take this entire side because we push them out of Bravo. Now technically I would say there's 4 lanes in this map. 1, 2, 3, and 4. But hey, we did a pretty good job in this one. I don't think it lasts too much longer after this, but the biggest thing we're doing is we're in a +8. I felt like we did a pretty good push here, and our best push of Warno, of my Warno history, essentially, is literally this game with the AI deck that doesn't have everything that I like to see and I like to have. That's particularly interesting. And at this point, we're pushing in so much that, I mean, Pro AK's got to say this game is done as well. I think he ends up just ending it because he doesn't have any more aircraft to mess around with. And we take that one now with a 10. I don't remember, he actually ends up giving up because we're at a +10. There it is. He does end up giving up with that, and that is a victory. So the AI deck is not bad. It's not necessarily good. I'd say it's a middle of the road bit. There's a couple things I like in it that I picked. It's a couple things I don't like at all. We don't have, like, I like to have more tanks. I feel like we don't have enough tanks and too many ITVs, to be honest. and I would change a couple of things with the deck, but overall I feel like the AI did a decent job. So coming in here, pretty good shots. The Cobra took out one BMP1. T80 and BMP1 comes down with the Kiowa, the one with the Hellfires. GVids did some work. I'm not sure why you would go with that many recon helicopters. I see that recon helicopters are good, but coming in with a force like that, I just don't see it. One Strelky. I want to say this is the ACAV version, right? Because I think the ACAV just actually says an ACAV on it. Maybe that is the ACAV. Or the no, this is not the ACAV version. Okay. Abrams doing some work. The seed coming in. Chaparral getting some aircraft kills. Good seed. That's the Apache that went back with the 2 Cubs, which was good. Likely saved any of our future air portions. Eagle coming in, taking out a couple of SU-27s and a MiG-23. Scouts got that Polmashinki. Another helo there, 2 BMPs. This seed took out 3 Osas and a Barusa. This Cobra took out Molostrelki. There's the MT-12. I felt like we weren't pushed a lot, so maybe I was just given the terrain. All right, guys, that's going to be the end of the episode there. Kind of a strange episode to say the least, but that's what happens when you ask AI to kind of build a deck. It took me a while to build a deck. I think it was like 2 or 3 hours. It will build a Wargame When Dragon deck because the game has been released for a while, and it's actually before the information cutoff date for it. I actually had to use Google Bard with this, but it still didn't know exactly what to do with it. I couldn't use ChatGPT. So it took me probably about 2 or 3 hours to construct the deck, but we got through it. I had to ask the questions, and AI can build a decent deck. Is it a good meta deck wise where it's like really good what I would use? No. However, I did enjoy it. So thanks for coming out. We'll leave a like below, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Later.